Can you all see? Okay. Today we talk about assisted recitation. Some of you probably already been with YC and Fang Jiahua to quite a lot of places to do the assisted recitation, right? How many of you have been there? So most of you already did. So you know what it should be done and what are the benefits for you and also for the sick people or for the deceased people. Okay, this assisted recitation, some of you probably don't know how it was started. Okay, this is actually one of the Dharma door. It's called Jing Du, the Pure Land Dharma door. And this method is practically for everybody. Doesn't matter you are educated or you are not educated. Doesn't matter you can read or you are illiterate, or doesn't matter you are old or you are young. Because all you have to do is just to recite the Amitabha Buddha's name and just 6 words. Namo Amitabha, right? So everybody should know how to recite that, right? So it doesn't need a very talented person. I'll tell you a story later on about one of Shifu's disciples. And before I tell you the story, first we talk about today's lesson first. Okay, for assisted recitation, that means we go to the places that there are sick people or there are people dying, to help them recite the Buddha's name. Because at the time, they are so sick or they are maybe either conscious or unconscious. They don't know how to recite the Buddha's name anymore. Even, especially some of them, they probably never been a Buddhist and never know how to recite the Buddha's name. And then if we can go to help them or recite the Buddha's name for them to listen, then it will also benefit them to make the sick people feel more calm, more at ease, and also will feel more clear to follow you to recite the Buddha's name. So the assisted recitation is very important. So I hope after you learn this, you will try to help the group to go to do the assisted recitation from now on. And I know YC and Fang Jiahua have been doing this for quite many years. Ever since we started it, that was about more than 10 years ago? Yeah, I don't even remember how many years, but I know it was more than 10 years ago. And originally, this group started it way back in the 70s in Gold Mountain Monastery in San Francisco. At that time, Shifu gave us the name of this recitation group. It's called Pure Land Karma Society. Jing Ye She, that is the name that was given by our Venerable Master. And since the 70s, we already start this recitation group. And because in San Francisco, there are so many Chinese, and they also understand about this Buddhist way for the sick people and for the deceased people. So after we had this group organized, and then gradually we have more and more people. And then later on, they asked, ever since in the 90s, that we have this Berkeley Buddhist monastery, then they want to branch out this group to Berkeley. And that's how this group started it. And then also, that's we have really to thank YC and Fang Jiahua to keep this group going for such a long time, and also did such a good job. Okay, for the assisted recitation, I need to. Okay. I'm going to tell you what the rituals and the types of Dharma instruments that we're going to use for the assisted recitation. Last week, I already showed you all kinds of Dharma instruments. But today, the two main Dharma instruments that we're going to use for the assisted recitation are just the yin qing, the guiding bell, and also the small wooden fish. Okay. This is the only two Dharma instruments that we need to use. Okay, for the assisted recitation, I classify it into three groups. The first groups are the sick people, but although they are seriously sick, but yet they still have clear minds and very conscious. And so the second group is for the people who are very, very sick and unconscious, and then for the last group is for people who are dying or at the deathbeds. Okay, for these three groups, when we do the recitation, we do it a little bit different, especially using the Dharma instrument. Okay, the next slide, please. Okay, the first group, for the sick people who still have clear minds and consciousness, then when we do the assisted recitation, we can chant Amitabha Buddha praise. That is the short one, not the 大赞. Okay, it's 弥陀偈. Okay, that is 阿弥陀佛生金色那个. Okay, the second one, and then after that, we will follow to recite Namo Amitabha Buddha. Okay, the 6-letter words for the Amitabha Buddha's name. And then after, for quite a while, it depends on the time, whether the family asks you to do a little bit longer time, then you will recite that for a while, and then go into just Amitabha Buddha, the 4-letter Buddha's name. And then at this group, going to recite for the sick people, then we can use the guiding bell and the small wooden fish. You all know what is the guiding bell, right? okay? And you all know what is the wooden fish, okay? So that's the only two kind of Dharma instruments that you use for the first group, because they are still, although they are sick, but they still have clear minds and still conscious. So it's okay that you use the both Dharma instruments. Okay, next slide, please. And the next one, the next are the people, they are very sick and unconscious. You know, they don't even know what's going on. And probably they are already, you know, in the state of mind, very confused mind. So then if in this case, then we don't want, probably they are already in the intensive care or maybe in the hospital. So you don't want to make too much noise. And so in this group, we only use the guiding bell only. And also we only chant Namo Amitabha Buddha's name 3 times and then turn into the 4-letter words, Amitabha Buddha. Okay? And then we just continuing reciting the Amitabha Buddha's name. Also, it depends on the time and how long you're going to recite the Buddha's name. The reason we only use the guiding bell instead of using both, you know, both the guiding bell and the small wooden fish, because for one reason, this sick person probably already in a very unconscious state of mind, and also probably already in the intensive care. But the sound of the guiding bell will alarm her brainwave, you know, and then that sick person will have the sound of the bell, and then will have a little bit more clearer mind, you know, because of the sound wave from the guiding bell. So, but the wooden fish, because the wooden fish sound is not crisp, you know, but the bell sound is very crisp. So that's why we only use the guiding bell, okay? And the next slide, please. Okay, now, for the people are dying or at the deathbed, then we only recite the Amitabha Buddha's name for, you know, long time. And if they are already dead, you know, or maybe dying, you know, you also just recite the Buddha's name, but slowly. And maybe right after you're reciting and then the person passing away, then you have to recite for them for at least 8 hours. You know, this is according to the Buddha's saying and also according to the sutra, okay? But then some people, especially some family, they are not Buddhists and they don't believe into the recitation. So they may not want you to recite that long. And also, if you're in the hospital, maybe the hospital won't allow you to recite that long. So you just do whatever length of time you can, that's all. You know, try not to demand on it, because sometimes, you know, like especially in the hospital, they have their regulation. And of course nowadays, you know, especially the hospital in this, in California and in the Bay Area, and most of them, they already know that the Asian likes to have the deceased person remain there for 8 hours. So then they will try to cooperate. But then there are some places they won't allow you to do that. So it doesn't matter whether they allow you, then that is very good. But if they do not allow you, then just go along with the regulation of the hospital or the family's demands. Okay? And then at this time, after you finish reciting the Buddha's name and everything is all done, then you will do a 回向记, that is the transference of merits. Okay. This is to transfer the merits for the deceased, and then hoping that the deceased person will go to the Pure Land. Okay. That's why in Chinese we said 愿生西方净土中，九品莲花为父母，花开见佛悟无生，不退菩萨为伴侣，十方三世一切佛，一切菩萨摩诃萨，摩诃般若波罗蜜。This is the transference of merits verse. Okay, and then I have it in the bottom in English. This is the verse for the transference of merit. Okay, and then the next slide, please. Okay, before we go into the memorial service, any of you have any question for the assisted recitation service? No questions? Very good. So that means you guys had really good practice. Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Can see it. Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. Yes. Yes. You should. Yeah. Even after you finish, you should bow to the Buddha. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, you can bring just the image of the Amitabha Buddhas, or you can bring the image, the three image, the Xifang Sansheng, the three sage from the Pure Land. Generally, just the image of Amitabha Buddha is very good because, especially for the sick person, it's much easier for them to see just one image instead of three. Sometimes they may not be able to see so many. And as so many times that you have been, you probably notice some sick person can't even open their eyes, right? Yeah. So Fang Jiahua was asking, should we bow to the Buddha first? Yes. Even when there is no image, we should bow, 3 bows, to the toward the western side. And then after we finish reciting, we should also bow. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Any more questions? Well, the reason I put it in the slide, so later on, when I'm not around, you also know how to do a memorial service. I also making up a manual, like a handbook, to tell you how this group started it, by our Shifu. And then I will have the history and everything. I haven't finished, so today you won't see it. But when I finish it, you will have the whole thing. So all of you can carry on to do all this. See, because Shifu doesn't really like the monks or nuns to go out to do this kind of service. So we generally don't either, but then, especially some of the good friends or some of the disciples' family, they are passing away, and then they want a Buddhist service. That's how we come in. Just like the recent one in Sacramento, Dr. Ron Epstein's mother-in-law passed away. We all went to Sacramento to do the service. Same thing. Yeah. So I want all of you to learn the correct way to do it. So this way you can help some other people. Like for instance, last time when we went to Sacramento for the service, to help them to do the service, and actually, the family, except the mother, the deceased woman, she's a Buddhist. She's also Shifu's disciple. But other than that, all the family members are not Buddhists. And in the beginning, they don't even want to have vegetarian lunch. So I suggested to them, we should have a vegetarian lunch. For one reason, I say this is also a respect to the deceased person, because she's been a vegetarian for a long, long time, ever since she became Shifu's disciple. And then for another reason, because she's at the stage, even after you pass away, your spirit is still around, still floating, okay? We call it Zhong Yin Sen. In Buddhism. So it's still floating, and it depends on the karma of that person, and then will be put into a certain cycle. So that's why you should not kill, especially right after a person passed away. So that's why you should observe vegetarian. Actually, this is also a very old Chinese custom. When a person passes away, you're supposed to mourn for the deceased person. And when you mourn for the deceased person, then you should not eat any meat. Although they don't know about Buddhism, but yet this is the old Chinese custom. Because even when I became a Buddhist, before I became a Buddhist, I was young, and then in my family, we are very traditional Chinese. We follow a lot of the traditional custom. Like for instance, during New Year, the first day of the New Year, we have to bow to our parents. And like for our parents' birthday, in the morning, we have to bow to our parents to offer them a sweet tea. This is the old Chinese tradition, because I'm from a very big family. So this is not just Buddhist way also. Maybe it's the influence from Buddhism that I don't know. But anyway, I know the old Chinese custom also observe being a vegetarian after someone in the family passed away, especially the elders. And in the old Chinese custom, you're supposed to observe being a vegetarian for 49 days, not just one day. Okay, yeah. But now we Buddhists, we learn Buddhism, you will remember reading in the Earth Door Bodhisattva Sutra, also tells you that, right? And also talk about the assisted recitation also, because when you do the assisted recitation, it's not just benefit the deceased person or the person is dying, but also benefit you yourself, right? Okay. And any more questions before I go into the memorial service? Very good. You all understand?
Then to retire, but still they certain now they want to have not among whoever maybe they guide them, they guide them, they guide that person, whatever they say, they want to guide them, they want to interrupt you because they want to sit next to that person, they guide them, whatever they want. Then, but you have to go over to recite silently or something. No, you don't have to. I remember when my mother was passing away, or why.
And some of you were around to help do the recitation, right? And well, my mother was very fortunate because we had groups from Gold Mountain Monastery, from Berkeley Monastery, also from Gold Sage. And then they all take turns. And as a matter of fact, they were there day and nights, 24-hour reciting. Yeah, that's why I said my mother was really fortunate. And although, they're quite, because we have about 5 generations all in America. When my mother passed away, all the 5 generation members came from all over, right? Some of them from Hawaii, some of them from LA, some of them from pretty far away. And they all came. And she waited, it's very interesting. She waited until the last one came from Hawaii. They just got off the plane and then came to our place. And then she waited until she saw the great-grandson. And then she closed her eye and had a smile and left. You know, although we have so much interruptions, you know, by the family member coming in and out or talk to her, but yet the recitation group is still reciting the Buddha's name. You know, so don't let them interrupt you. They can talk to the person passing away at the deathbed, or they can, you know, do whatever they want. But, you know, we still should keep the recitation going, because this is a very critical moment for the passing away person. Remember, I don't know, some of you, if attended my last classes talking about Shifu's Dharma talks with the Shifu's video. You know, there's one lesson about telling you about the, especially on that lesson about the earth store Bodhisattva. That tells you when a person passing away, you may have to be sent to the one of the 10 halls, right? The 10 hells, or whatever you call it. It depends on your karma. It depends on what you have done when you are alive and what you have committed sins or committed or doing bad or did bad things, you know, in your life. And then you will be sent to the different hell. Or you will be, probably you will be sent to being a person again, or to being an animal or whatever, you know. So this is a very critical moment for the deceased person. So we should recite the Buddha's name continuously, slowly, and let that spirit, even the person already passed away, you should let that person's spirit hear the sound of the Buddha's name. And even just one sound of the Buddha's name in that deceased person's mind will help him or her, you know, to have a good heart or develop a kind mind, and then that will help this Zhongyinsen to have a better future or better recycle. Okay, to go into a better cycle. Okay, so it doesn't matter that the people, but of course, when you go to do the assisted recitation, especially for the this dying person, then you should have a little talk with the family members to let them know what we are doing. And actually, after today's lesson, well, I'm still doing some of the manuals. This is only for the class only. But then the YCNI is trying to revise that handbook. Yeah, so anybody can have that handbook and then do a memorial service without me. So you guys can, you guys will be graduating. So anyway, yeah, when I finish, you know, this too is just for the class only. But then in the handbook we'll have more, yeah, more detail. And then also you can follow what we put down to explain it to the family member, especially for the non-Buddhist members. You know, so this way we'll have a better understanding between our group and the family. Okay, And, well, same thing like the Sacramento service, I had to talk to the son a lot more before we started the service. Yeah, same thing, because they are non-Buddhists, It's just because Ocean is a Buddhist and the mother is a Buddhist. And as a matter of fact, I also encountered one recently. The son is very devoted. Well, actually, the son and the son's wife, they both are very devoted Buddhists. Also, they are also Sifu's disciples. And they were in China, but the mother was here. And when the mother passed away, and they called me from China and asked me to bring the group to do the recitation for the mother. But then the mother, she was not a Buddhist. That doesn't matter if the other family member say okay. But the mother herself didn't want it. Because she's a very devoted Catholic also. She went to church every Sunday and to do the service. And then so when she was passing away, although the son and the daughter-in-law wanted so much with the Buddhist recitation service, but the mother and the sister, the daughter of the mother, didn't really want it. So because I talked to them, I met the mother also. And then so I talked to both at that time the mother already, at the deathbed, is very unconscious. So I just be able to talk to the sister. And the sister told me that no, because the mother, when she was dying, she kind of told the daughter that after she passed away, she wanted Catholic service, no Buddhist service. And then so the daughter said to the mother, although the mother already, at the last moment, but still, like I was just saying, you still have that spirit, in you, and not really gone yet, it's still at the Zhongyin Shen. And then so when the daughter told the mother, oh, you don't have to worry, mother. I will never let the son give you the Buddhist service. I will do the Catholic service for you. Right after the daughter said it that way to the mother, and the mother be able to close her eyes. So that's why when after I talked to the sister, the daughter, and then I told the son, I say, this is how it happened. I say, if your mother didn't really want a Buddhist service, we don't have to do it for her, to make her get mad. I said, that's even worse. I said, you can do it quietly, by yourself. And then you can recite the Buddha's name for her. It doesn't matter that we have to go there to do it for her. So this is, like in the future, you probably will encounter some of these kind of family that, if you happen to encounter some of this problem, you just don't have to force yourself to make, we have to recite the Buddha's name for you. Because as a Buddhist, the reason we want to do this is to help ease their mind, to help the deceased person to be more at ease to go away, and also to be more happy to go away. We don't want them to get mad. We don't want them to be worried, because if you read the store Bodhisattva Sutra, you will understand, that will be much more burden for the for the person passing away. Okay? Yes. That's right. I thought you have well, some people have spiritual power, they be able to see. But like, some people, although you think they are passing away, they may not really be passing away. They probably wandering. I tell you a story about my father. My father been dead for 3 days, that the doctor already pronounced that he's dead. But my father was not buried right away because at that time, I think that was before I was born. But I heard from my mother and my older brothers telling me the story. They prepared everything except a coffin. It just happened, they couldn't find a good coffin for my father. So he was not buried. He was laying in the house, And on the 3rd day, he woke up. Yeah. And then he saw my mother and some of the other people, other relatives crying and everything. At that time, my mother was not a Buddhist. My father was not a Buddhist. And, they didn't know better. They just do according to the old Chinese custom. And then so my father said, "What you guys doing?" And then he said, "Oh, the doctor said you already passed away." And then my father said, "No, I had a dream. I went to a place. I don't know what this place is, but I saw my his grandfather. Let's see. No, his great-grandfather. He said, I saw my great-grandfather. And my great-grandfather told me, oh, it's not time for you to come. You better go home." And so he went home. He said, oh, then I woke up, And then he describing the place that he was at was, he was walking on a paved road, And then on both sides, there are a lot of flowers. And then to a small house, and then he saw his great-grandfather. And he even remembered the couplings at the front door. And then also he told us, well, not me, but anyway, he told our family that his great-grandfather dressed up like 土地公, the earth god. A lot of people, they have that earth god. Yeah. Not just on the street, but like, for instance, I noticed a lot of Vietnamese, they also put up that earth god, right? Thổ Đế, right? Yeah. And then, that's what my father said, that he dressed up like that, the earth god, and then holding a stick, yeah. And then that's all he remembered. He said that his great-grandfather told him, oh, it's not time for you to come. You better go home. And then he said, you don't come here until you are my age. And then my father passed away at 92. That was his great-grandfather's age. So that's why I'm saying that, even though you saw that person is dying or already announced dead. But yet, the spirit is still floating around. So I guess this is not just the Chinese story, but if you pay attention, some of the Western people, they also believe in that, because some of them, they did pass away, or the doctor announced that the person is dead, but yet come back alive. And then some of the story that I read that, maybe those are really true story, because they said, they actually saw their body laying on the hospital bed, but yet what they saw, actually they saw all the happenings. But then they cannot say anything that all the living people can hear. And one story I read is very interesting, that the person spirit, saw everything happening. And then he tried to tell the doctor, stop, but then nobody can hear him. And then so, that's why in Buddhism, we were taught that do not move that person, the passing away person, until 8 hours later, at least 8 hours later, So, don't believe that, that person is already announced dead is really dead. Their spirit is still probably wandering around. And that's why I said, at that time is the really critical moment that if we can recite the Buddha's name to help them ease their mind, and then to help them be happy to go to another cycle. Okay? All right? Any more questions? Storytelling stop already? Okay, so we go into the next one, is the memorial service. Okay, I know most of you will go to do the assisted recitation. But for the memorial service, probably some of you have not really attended much. And for the memorial service, okay, this is the procedure, okay? The first one, we give a little brief introduction of Pure Land Karma Society. Remember, I just told you, this name was given by our Shifu way back in the 70s in Gold Mountain. And so I hope that we can just keep that name. And at that time, only Gold Mountain and then Berkeley doing this. Okay, it's called Pure Land Karma Society. And then when we start the service, we try to give a little brief introduction to all the people attended to let them know about our Pure Land Karma Society. And then also give a little brief introduction about service schedule. Because sometimes a lot of those people, they are not really Buddhists, and they do not know what's going on. So we just let them know a little bit more about the service, and then so they can follow, okay? So after that, then we bow to the Buddha 3 times and a half bow, because of the place limited. Sometimes we may not be able to really bow down on the floor. So we just do the half bow, okay? So actually it's about 4 half bows. And then after that, we will chant the Pure Land praise. And then at that time, the family member should do the incense offerings. And after that, we'll pay homage to the Lotus Pool Assembly of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, west as the sea, 3 times. We will chant that. And then start the Amitabha Sutra. If the time is not permitted, then we don't have to recite the Buddha, we don't have to recite the Amitabha Sutra. We can just recite the Heart Sutra, because Heart Sutra is much shorter than the Amitabha Buddha Sutra. Okay, it depends on the time. Sometimes their service may be 2-3 hours, 2 hours. Generally, it's about 2 hours. But then sometimes they may have too many family members give eulogies, or give talks. So that doesn't allow us too much time to do the recitation. So then it depends on the time. So we can either recite the Amitabha Sutra or the Heart Sutra. And after that, we will do the spirit mantra for rebirth in the Pure Land 7 times. This also can be 3 times also. It depends on the time. Next slide, please. And then after that, especially in the memorial service, if they do offer food and water or fruits, then we have to recite the true words, all the 3 true words. But if some places, they don't want to do any of these offerings, then you can skip that too. Because once there are food offerings over there, then you should recite that, the transforming the food true words, and sweet dew true words, and universal offering true words. And after the universal offering true words, then we will chant the Amitabha praise, or the short form of the Amitabha praise. Okay, this is a good time for you to practice Mito Dazhan. Mito Dazhan, Mito Fo. That's Mito Dazhan. Okay. 对，他们很多人都没学过，不过慢慢来，你可以教他们了。This is a very good, I myself really like this chanting, Mito Fo. And I know a lot of places don't chant that anymore. I know even like CCDB, I very seldom, they don't. Even Mito Dan, they don't even chant that. Yeah, they don't do that. But this is a very good melody. I really like it. But Mito Dazhan, we usually for the traditional service, like for instance, the Amitabha Buddha's celebration, we should chant the Mito Dazhan. That is the Mito Fo. A lot of time, they said Amitabha praise is the Mito Ji, is not the Dazhan. That's why I specially put Dazhan. Okay. But of course, if we don't have enough time, we can just skip that and then recite or chant the verse for Amitabha praise, the short forms. And then after that, we go into the Amitabha Buddha's name. And for reciting the Buddha's name, it depends on the time also. Actually all these schedules about the chanting, about the recitation, it all depends on the time. So that's why for the memorial service, you have to talk to the family member ahead of time in order to plan your schedule. Okay. And then after that, generally, they will give eulogy from the family and friends. Okay. And at that time, then we conclude the recitation of the Buddha's name. wait until all the family members and friends finish talking, then we will continue again. Okay, the next slide, please. Mm-hmm. No, actually, it's to the disease, and also others too. I don't know. I remember when I was really young, I always kind of scared about ghosts because I heard so many stories about ghosts. Okay, especially when you are passing away. They said the person. I don't know. You notice. I don't know about all the other Asians. Okay, but Chinese that I know, when a person passing away, before they bury them, well, they put them in the coffin, right? And then they will have a blanket to cover that person, and then they will put a coin or some jewelry in the mouth. Usually it's gold or coin, money coin, okay? And that's the reason they put it in there, because I always very curious about things, so I asked them why, they have to put something there. And I say, don't you afraid that, that will swallow, or stuck right here in the throat? They say, because they put that coin or gold or jewelry in the mouth of that deceased person, so they will, after they left this world, when they are going to another world, they will have enough money to to use or to bribe the ghost officials. That's what I was told, okay? But how true, of course, I don't know. But then, same thing with the food. They want to offer them food, especially right now, they be able to absorb or not necessarily eat, but to absorb the flavor, so they won't be a hungry ghost. This is the Chinese tradition. That's why generally, they will offer them, not just when they are passing away, but also when we do when we go to the grave site, to pay respects to the deceased ancestor, we also bring food to offer to them, right? Because this is the old Chinese tradition also. They afraid that although they already passed away, but in their mind, they still, thinking that deceased person need food, I mean, in a way, although you may think this is superstitious, but then in a way, this is one of the way that they express their respects, and also one of a way they want to express their filial piety. Okay, so that's why they offer food, so they won't be too hungry. But actually, it's not just for the deceased person, but for them to share with the others. Remember last class, I told you, try not to do the guiding bell or to use some of especially the guiding bell or some of the Dharma instruments whenever you feel like it. Because especially in the evening or in the afternoon, some of those ghost spirits, they heard this Dharma instrument played. They thought it's time for them to come get the offerings. You know. See, I don't know, any of you attended the evening session, the evening recitation at CTTB? You know, they have the 蒙山施食, okay? That's, you know, to share the food for the others, for the other spirits. You know, and then they use the guiding bell a lot for the 蒙山施食. Although, you know, I'm a lay person, should not do the 蒙山施食, but I learned that way back from my master. And then also in Hong Kong, way back in the temple, the Western Bliss Garden, you know, at that time, Shifu was alone, just him as a monk in the temple. And then sometimes I help out for the 蒙山施食. That's how I learned also from the Dharma master that taught me chanting. So, so the ghost spirit, they heard the guiding bell. They will come to receive the offerings. No. It's not whether you eat. Well, even in Hong Kong, Shifu never eat in the evening. No, food, you have water. Water, yeah, that's good enough. And then you have fruits, right? I tell you a story about when I first came here to the America, and Shifu instructed me that I should start the Buddhism over here in America. So we rented a basement in San Francisco. And when we first rented that basement, it was filthy because that basement had been empty for a long, long time. And in my whole life, I had never seen a rat so big as a cat. Yes, believe it or not. But, you know, after we set up the altar and everything, we had fruits and for the offering, right? But it's really very, very interesting. Those big rats didn't even touch any of our fruits. Yes. You know, a lot of people told us, you know, because at that time, both my sister and I were only students. We didn't really know much. And then, so a lot of the gradually we had a lot of business people from Chinatown to come because they have never seen the way we did our chanting. They never seen the way we did the service, you know. So at first they are curious, but then later on they came and listened to our Dharma talks and everything, and then so they became Shifu's disciple. Although Shifu service for these people, and then so that's the time we did it. And so these people, they had never seen Shifu except his picture, and they wanted to become his disciple. And that's how later on they contribute all the money to apply the visa for Shifu to come. And some of them still alive. They still go to Gold Mountain Monastery because they are from San Francisco. But then at that time, you know, although we have offerings in the Buddha's altar, those big rats never dared to touch any of those food. We didn't have evening dinner either. But then we still do the 施食, 蒙山施食. It doesn't matter. You have the well, I don't know. Well, because you have never really learned. But the 蒙山施食 is not necessary. You have the actual food, okay? But you have to have the water. To do the 蒙山施食, you have to use a lot of your 观想, contemplation, okay? And I remember also another time is in Hong Kong. Shifu's temple up in the Lantau Island, way up in the mountain. I remember when I was only maybe early teen, and then we had to climb so many mountains, about 3 hours long, to go up to that temple. It's called Cixing Shi. It's still there. And Shifu, for the grand opening, Shifu had invited some other monks to come to do the Yankou. You heard of that? Yankou, the flaming mouths service. You know, the flaming mouth is for the ghosts, for the hungry ghosts, that they could not eat anything. You know, the minute there is food in their mouth, it will turn into flame, you know, and they don't have the food to eat anymore. So the flaming mouth is to help these hungry ghosts that be able to get the food. But of course, it's not actual food that you give them. It's your contemplation. And then I remember for that service, during that service, not lots of people in the temple heard lots of spirit going up to the mountain and talking. Say, oh, hurry, hurry. We better hurry up and go to go up to the temple to get the offerings. My sister heard that, Stella, and also there is one of Shifu's disciple. He's a left home person. He's a monk from China that came with Shifu from China together to Hong Kong. And he was in seclusion, and he lived in one of the small huts on the roadside. He thought, because of the grand opening, a lot of people walking up the hilly road to go to the temple, he heard a lot of people talking about that. And then the next morning, he found out it's not people, it's the spirits, you know. So, I mean, I'm not trying to tell you a story to bring you into superstition, but these are actually happened. These are true stories. And then just want you to understand that even after we pass away, you know, our soul may be still wandering around. Especially some of those, they have no family member to help save them, you know. So the recitation service is really benefit to all these people that passing away. Okay, this is my purpose of telling you all these stories, ghost stories. Okay, so after that recitation, and then the family member will give the eulogy. And after the eulogy, then we will continue to recite the Amitabha Buddha's name until everyone finishes paying the respects. Okay, and then so, and then after that, then we do the transference of merits, And then we also bow to the Buddha, and we also bow to our Shifu to complete the service. The reason we should bow to our Shifu because this was taught by our Shifu to start this recitation group, and we want to pay our respects to him. Okay, sometimes we may end our service at the funeral hall after we finish bowing. But sometimes some family member, they ask us to also do the recitation at the grave site or at the cremation area. So if we were asked to do that, then the following one is, first, we chant the Namo Bora Hui Sang Fo Pusa 3 times. Namo Prajna Assembly of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas 3 times. And then we will recite the Heart Sutra. Okay, the full name of Heart Sutra is Heart of Prajna Paramita Sutra. After the Heart Sutra, we'll recite the mantra of rebirth. Okay, and then recite Amitabha Buddha's name. And also, this depends on how long they have put the coffin into the ground. So we finish the Buddha's name recitation until the coffin is down into the earth and then covered by the dirt. Then we finish, then we can stop recite the Buddha's name. And then after that, we do the transference of merits. And this is 回向功德. 回向功德, we can do the 愿生西方. Okay. All right. Any more questions? Sure. We will have English and Chinese, but Vietnamese, we need your help. Yeah, sure. Yeah, because we plan to have this for everybody. Yeah. Yes. And so, I'm still writing some of the articles for the manual. So after I finish, and then you can contact YC because I will email it to her, and then she will edit it and put it into the pamphlet. And then maybe at that time you can talk to her and translate it into Vietnamese. And then so yeah, that's very good. Yeah. Because I'm still writing some of the articles, like for instance, the history of this recitation group and why it's called the Pure Land Karma Society, and also some of the things that we should be careful, or some of the things that we should discuss with the family members. That will be all in the handbooks. Okay. These are just, these 2 classes is just to let you understand, just have a little brief understanding about the schedules, about the service, and also about the Dharma Instruments. And that's about all. Okay. Oh, you're welcome. Any more questions? Yes. Even at the cremation area, if there's no left home people around, if we have to do it, then we still keep on reciting the Buddha's name until everything is done, until they turn on the switch and it's burning, And after it's burned for a little while, and then you can see what happened, and then you stop the recitation of the Buddha's name, then you do the transference of merits. But at the grave site, it's the same thing. You wait until the coffin is down to the earth, and then cover with the dirt, start, finish covering, then, you stop the Buddha's name recitation, and then do the transference of merits. Yeah, because at the cremation area, usually the space is very small, and lots of the time they don't allow people to go nearby, okay? It depends on how that burner is set up, okay? So even you're not right next to the burner, you're farther away, you still keep reciting the Buddha's name. Like last time, recently, I attended Goren, Mrs. Ha's service. Okay, their cremation area is very small, it's limited space. So we cannot get too close to it. And then so the monk who hosts the service told us to remain in the funeral area, the service area, to keep reciting the Buddha's name. It's still the same, okay? Any more questions? No more questions? So you're all very good. Okay, that's the next slide. Any more? Oh, yes. Okay, so the Dharma instrument that we're going to need are just the guiding bell and the small wooden fish. But other material that we should bring with us, especially for those people that they have the service at the funeral hall, and they usually don't have the Buddha's image. So we should, as the recitation group member, you should remember to bring this, okay? The image of the 3 Western saints and the incense burner, lights, candles, incense, and our recitation booklets. That's the most important part, okay? Generally, I know YC had everything in the back, so she's really experienced and prepared. Okay, and also to remind the family members to buy flowers. Generally, I also tell the family member to buy the incense, instead of we give them the incense, okay, because this is part of their offering, So tell the family member to buy flowers, incense, if possible, well, candle, the live candle, sometimes some place don't allow you to do that, but we have the electric candles, as lights. But then if it's allowed, also candles too. Actually, the family members should prepare this: flowers, incense, and candles, fruits, and food. All kind. This because this is part of their offerings, not just to their deceased person, but also to the Buddha, okay? And so they can plant some good seed, okay? And so recitation book list that we will have our own. Okay. Any more questions? No? Okay, this is the last one, right? Yes. Okay, and so actually, I was going to show you one of the chanting. I don't know. I have it. I forgot to email it to YC. Well, maybe next time. So today, For the service schedules and also the recitations, that what you should recite, you can ask YC to give you a copy if you want, okay? Or you have any other questions, you can also email to her or tell Mai. Not that I don't want you to email me, but I mean, to be honest with you, I have so many emails every day that sometimes some of them I have to answer, especially a lot of questions from China. So sometimes I don't know where my time goes. So anyway, now I got YC and Mai to help out. But really, thank you very much. And so, since we still have some time, I would like to see how you do with the guiding bell and the small wooden fish. Because these two Dharma instruments are the most important instruments that you need to use for the assisted recitation and the memorial service. Okay? So please come closer, maybe circle, sit in a circle so I can see all of you doing your Dharma instruments. I know some of you already have your own guiding bell and the small wooden fish. I want to see how you hold the guiding bell, how you do the wooden fish, and all that. Okay? All right, come on.